All right, so for your warm-up, this is kind of like your notes today, but it's a warm-up. It says find the volume. So on your assignment, I expect you to underline or highlight what it's asking for. So it asks for volume, so I highlighted it. What type of shape is this? This is a cylinder. So I go to my star chart and I find the word volume, cylinder, and I write down this formula, pi r squared h. Notice I even put a spot for the formula, pi r squared h. To use this formula, I need a radius and a height. The radius comes from the what? The circle. Find the circle. Is this a radius? Yes or no? No. If it goes all the way through its diameter, and you must divide by 2. So what is 14 divided by 2? So the radius was 7 and the height was 8. So I plug it in to this formula. Pi times 7 squared times 8, and I simply type that into my calculator and hit enter. And that's my answer. Do I have to write that whole thing? No. My answer is 1,231.50, or 0.5 would be perfectly fine. Y'all better stay focused. You have a CBA on this on Friday. All right, what is this shape called? A cone. And am I finding volume or surface area? Volume. So I go to my star chart, to volume, find cone, and write down this formula, 1/3 pi r squared h. So that's what I write for formula. So I need a radius and a height. The radius has to come from the circle. Did they give me a radius or a diameter? Remember, radius goes halfway through. It went halfway through, so the radius is 3. And that's actually, pretend that 7 was pointing right here, and that is the height. All right, so I'm going to plug it in, 1/3 times pi times 3 squared times 7. And I simply type that in my calculator. Don't forget to put in a fraction. You hit alpha, y equals, option 1. So 1/3 tab out times pi times 3 squared times 7. Does everybody remember how to get to the squared? You can either hit the shortcut button right here, or you can hit the caret. Either way. So 65.97 if I round. Okay, what is this last shape for volume called? A sphere. Very good. They might say basketball, tennis ball, soccer ball. They might just call it some type of ball, but it's a sphere. So I go to my star chart to volume, find sphere, and I write this formula down. 4/3 pi r, is it squared? No, pi r cubed. So I write down 4/3 pi r to the 3rd power. For this formula, all I need is a radius, an r. Did they give me a radius or did they give me a diameter? They gave me a radius, which is halfway through, so 5. 4/3 times pi times 5 to the 3rd power. Okay, for those of you struggling with the calculator, again, to put in a fraction, I hit the green button, alpha, then y equals, and choose option 1. Put in 4, tab over 3, tab out. times pi, so second pi, times 5, and I must use this button to get up to the third power. And that's my answer. 523 point, if I round, it would be 0.60. If you put 59, that's perfectly fine, because this would be a multiple choice question. So you would pick the closest answer. Any questions on volume? Volume is the easiest. So now what am I looking for? Surface area. So when I go to my star chart, I have to go to the section called, then I have to look, is it asking for lateral or total? If it doesn't specify, just do total. Otherwise, it will say lateral. So did it specify? What did it say? So we're going to do total for all of it. What shape is this? A cylinder. So I go to surface area, cylinder, I need total. So I got to write down that full formula. So here we go. 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. I need a radius and a height. The radius has to come from the what? Circle. Here's my circle. Did they give me a radius or a diameter? I can't hear y'all. What'd they give me? Diameter. If they give me a diameter, I must divide by, what's 14 divided by 2? 7. The height is 8. Oh, they gave me a spot for that right here. So wherever you wanted to put it. And now I just plug it in to this formula. So 2 times pi times my r, 7, times my height, which is 8. Plus sign, 2 times pi times my radius, my r, 7 squared. And that's it. I just type it in my calculator, and that will be my answer. And my answer is 659.73. Make sure you're writing all this because you're going to use these to answer your questions today. What is this next shape called? A rectangular prism. It's a rectangular prism. All right, so I go to my star chart to total surface area of a prism, and I write this formula, capital PH plus 2 capital B. These are the two shapes that most students who struggle will struggle with, so make sure you're paying attention. What is the first thing I told you to find? The height. So how tall is this standing? Once I find it, I circle it, I write it, and then what do I do with it? Mark it out so that I never see it again. Do y'all see the rectangle sitting here at the bottom? Y'all see it? To find the P, P means perimeter of the base. You must add all the sides. So if this is 16, what's this over here? And if this is 5, this is also. So you simply add those up. 16 plus 16 plus 5 plus 5, which I believe is 42. Yep. All right, who remembers what big B stands for? Area of the base. Here's my base right here. How would I find the area of this rectangle? Look right here. Area of a rectangle. What do? Length times width. So I'm just going to do 16 times 5. If you want to write that down so that you remember how to do it in a second, you can. 16 times 5 is 80. Now do I have every piece of the formula that I need? Yes or no? My formula says now I'm going to take P and multiply it by H, so 42 times 14. And then I'm going to put a plus sign. Then I'm going to put a 2. And I'm going to multiply that by the big B, which is 80. And I simply type that in my calculator. $748. Last example. What is this shape called? A triangular prism. That means the base is a triangle. What is the first thing I told you to identify? And what did I tell you to do? You have to cover something up. Cover up the triangle. Everybody take your fingers and cover up the triangle. The number that's left is your height. So what is left? And you mark it out because you will never use it again. Now I'm only looking at this triangle. What does P stand for? Perimeter of the base. So how would I find the perimeter of this? Add 12 plus 5 plus 13, which is 30. And if you need to write that out here, we did 12 plus 5 plus 13, just in case if you need it. What does big B stand for? Area of the base. So I go to my area part, and what kind of base is that? A triangle. So I do base times height divided by 2. I'm going to write that right here. BH over 2. To find these two numbers, find the right angle. Does everybody see the right angle? What two numbers are making that right angle? Say it again. 12 and 5. So 12 times 5 divided by 2. 12 times 5 is 60, and 60 divided by 2 is 30. Now do I have all the pieces I need? Yes. Oh, we forgot to write the formula. PH plus 2B. So I'm going to do P, 30, times H, 19. Plus sign, 2 times B, 30. And the answer is 630. So I'm going to pass out your... Here is what I expect to see. So if I'm looking at number 1, the first thing I see is, oh look, this is a rectangular prism. The next thing I need to find out is, what are they asking for? Are they asking for volume or surface area? So what does it ask for? And not just any surface area, it asks for what? So the next thing I do is go to my star chart to surface area. I go to lateral of a prism, and what is the formula? It is only pH. Do I even need a big B? No. So I need a P and an H. And then I can find it. So I am expecting, look at number 3. What would I highlight here? Cylinder, because that's the shape. And then what else am I highlighting? Lateral surface area. And the next thing I do is write the formula. So I go to surface area, cylinder, and lateral. 2 pi RH. Do not forget, the radius comes from the circle. So look at the circle. If it goes all the way across the circle, that is diameter, and you must divide by 2. All right, get busy.